All right. So if you're starting in child's pose, you can take whatever variation of child's pose you like. And some options are big toes together, knees out wide, and you can come down and stretch your arms out in front of you. Another option is knees out wide, arms back by your sides. You can also bring the knees together and either stretch the arms out in front of you or wrap them back by your sides. So if your knees are wide, you're going to get a little more extension in the spine, a little more of a hip stretch. If your knees are together, your spine is going to round a little bit more, which might feel good if you need to open up some space between the vertebrae on the back of the spine. And we're going to be here for several minutes. So just let your body settle in. And when your body is comfortable, you can start to take your attention to your breath. And child's pose is a great place to practice ujjayi breath, making that constriction at the back of the throat that makes the breath a little more audible. Also makes it sound a little bit like the ocean. And that constriction at the back of the throat helps to slow the breath. So you're kind of physically creating that slow, steady breath. Another great option in child's pose is to take a side stretch. So if you'd like to do that, you can just raise your head off the mat a little bit, walk your hands over to the right, and then you're going to create kind of a lateral bend in the spine as you reach your left arm out and open up some space on the left side of the torso. So if you're lying flat on your mat, if you're in Shavasana, you can kind of do a little bit of a banana stretch from yin, where you take your hips to one side and your shoulders and your feet to the other, or you could do a reclined twist if you like. And then we'll start to go to the other side. So if you're in child's pose, you're just going to walk your hands over to the left, reach your right arm out. Go ahead and walk your hands back to center or bring yourself back to the center of your mat. And we're going to do a little thread the needle stretch for the shoulders. And you can either do that in child's pose or you can come at it from tabletop. So whatever is more comfortable for you. We'll just thread the left arm under the right, lower the left shoulder and the left temple to the mat. And you can keep that right arm stretched out in front of you, especially if your hips are up in the air. If you're in child's pose, you might want to reach the right arm up towards the ceiling and then wrap it around the back. Reach for your left thigh and peel back your right shoulder. If your right arm is wrapped around your back, start to unwind it. Reach it back up towards the ceiling and then lower it out in front of you. And just kind of peel yourself up, come back to center. And then when you're ready, we'll go to the other side, threading the right arm under the left, lowering the right shoulder and the right temple to the mat, keeping the left arm stretched out in front of you, or maybe reaching it up and wrapping it around the back, reaching towards your right thigh, and then peeling back the left shoulder. And start to unwind. Coming back to center for just a moment. And then go ahead and start to lift your head and chest. Sit back onto your heels. Take your arms behind you, interlace your fingers, open the chest, tilt the chin up, maybe do a tiny little back bend. And then kind of releasing that a little bit, take both your hands to the right side of your body. And then start to lower your left ear towards your left shoulder. And you should find a stretch on the right side of the neck. You might need to play with the angle of the head a little bit or the tilt of your head. And if you try to lower your right shoulder, that'll enhance that stretch. Bring your head back to center and then switch. Bring your hands to the other side. Lower your right ear towards your right shoulder. Bring your head back to center and then bring your arms back to the center of your back, and let's open the chest one more time. Maybe raising the arms up a little bit higher this time. And then releasing. Bring your hands in front of you, tuck your toes under, come into a squat. So we're going to keep the knees together and just kind of lean forward, and you should find a stretch in your calf muscles. And then if you reach your arms forward, you might get a stretch around the tops of the shoulder blades. From here, just start to come forward, bring your knees down, and come into tabletop. So in your tabletop position, on your inhale, drop your belly, open your chest, tilt the chin up. And then exhale as you round your spine and tuck your chin towards your chest. Continue moving with your own breath at your own pace. You can make these movements as big or as small as you like. Let's do one more cat-cow. And then when you come into that cat pose, pause there for a moment, press your palms down, kind of exaggerate that cat a little bit more. Engage the muscles around your shoulders. And then come into a neutral tabletop. Stretch your right leg out behind you. Bring it parallel with the floor. Flex your right foot, point your toes down towards the mat. If you'd like, you can reach your left arm out in front of you. You can stay right here practicing balance, or you can bend your right leg, reach back and take a hold of the right foot. And kind of open into a little twist, a little bit more of a stretch. If you have a hold of your foot, on an inhale, come back to the extension. And then as you exhale, come down into tabletop. Stretch your left leg out behind you. Bring it parallel with the floor. Maybe reach that right arm out. And if you took that stretch on the other side, bend your left leg, reach back for your foot. Press your foot into your hand. If you have a hold of your foot, on your inhale, come back to the extension. And then exhale down into tabletop. Walk your hands out just a little bit, maybe just one hand's distance forward. And then shift your shoulders over your wrists, exhale down to the mat. On your inhale, come to a baby cobra. Just lift the head and the shoulders and maybe draw the shoulder blades towards each other. As you exhale, lower to the mat. Press up onto your hands and knees, and then exhale back to child's pose. Inhale, back up onto the hands and knees. Shift forward, exhale down. Inhale, baby cobra. Exhale and release. Press up onto your hands and knees. Exhale back to tabletop, or sorry, back to child's pose. And one more time, inhale up. Exhale down. Inhale, baby cobra. Exhale and release. Up onto your hands and knees, and then exhale back to child's pose one more time. Take 1 or 2 breaths here. When you're ready, come up into tabletop. Make sure that your shoulders are over your wrists, your knees are under your hip joints, and then tuck your toes under and lift your hips to downward dog. So we're going to take a few moments here to loosen up. So you can move around in whatever way feels good to you, but I suggest moving slowly and mindfully. On your next inhale, come up onto the balls of the feet. And then as you exhale, let your heels sink down towards the mat. Inhale up onto the balls of the feet again, bend your knees and walk forward to the top of your mat. Come to an easy forward fold. Keep a little bend in your knees. And let your torso just kind of drape over your thighs. Relax your neck and your shoulders. If you have some tension there, you might nod your head a little. Maybe move the head side to side. On your inhale, come to a halfway lift. So we're going to straighten the legs, lengthen and flatten the back. Exhale, soften your knees again and come back to your forward fold. On your inhale, slowly start to rise up. Sweep your arms overhead. Take your time coming up to extended mountain. As you exhale, come to chair pose. Sink the hips back. Inhale to extended mountain. Exhale as you forward fold. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale and fold. Inhale, slowly rise up. Use the muscles in the backs of the legs to help bring you up. As you exhale, come to chair pose. Inhale, extended mountain. Exhale, soften the knees, forward fold. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale and fold. Inhale, rise up again. Exhale to chair. Inhale, extended mountain. If you like, pause at the top this time and then maybe take a tiny little back bend. Come back to a neutral spine and exhale as you forward fold. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale and fold. Bend your knees, plant your hands, step back to plank. Lower the knees and the tops of the feet, exhale down to your mat. Inhale to cobra. We're going to pause here for a couple of breaths. Press the tops of the feet down into the mat, engage the muscles in your legs. Make sure your arms are tucked in by your sides. Sometimes there's a tendency to bring the elbows out, and that compromises the shoulder joint. Slowly exhale down. Use your triceps to control that movement. Press up onto your hands and knees. Tuck your toes under and lift your hips to down dog. Take a few breaths here. Lengthen from the crown of your head to your hips. And from your hips to your heels. On your next inhale, rise up onto your toes, bend your knees. You can step or walk to forward fold. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale and fold. Inhale, rise up. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale and fold. Bend the knees, plant the hands, step back to plank. Exhale, full or modified chaturanga. Inhale, up dog or cobra. Exhale to down dog, either rolling through tabletop or pressing up and back. On your next inhale, float your right leg up into three-legged dog. We'll take just a breath or two here. If that feels like a little too much this morning, feel free to hang out in downward dog. On your next inhale, rise up onto the ball of your left foot. You exhale, you can step or sweep your right leg through, plant the right foot between your hands, set up your back foot for warrior one. On your inhale, rise up. Let's take just a breath or two here. Maybe adjusting the hips a little, right hip back, left hip forward. Press down through your left foot. Try to distribute your weight evenly between the front foot and the back foot. As you exhale, bring your hands to the mat. Step your right foot back to plank. You can take a vinyasa here, or you can go right to down dog. If you're taking your vinyasa, you can exhale down to the mat. Inhale, upward dog or cobra. And exhale to down dog. On your next inhale, if you like, float the left leg up into three-legged dog. On your next inhale, rise up onto the ball of the right foot. As you exhale, step or sweep your left leg through, plant the foot between your hands, set up the back foot for warrior one. Inhale, rise up. Checking in with the hips again, squaring them off to the front of the mat. On your exhale, hands down to the mat, step your left foot back to plank. Take a vinyasa or go right to down dog. We'll take 3 deep breaths here. You can either stay in your downward dog, or you can take a rest in tabletop or child's pose. On your next inhale, float your right leg up. And you can take it up as high as it'll go this time. Maybe stack the hips. You can bend your right knee if you like. Then go ahead and straighten your right leg, square your hips off again. Rise up onto the ball of the left foot. Exhale, step or sweep the right leg through. This time we're going to keep the back heel up, but we're going to lower the knee and then bring the top of the left foot to the mat. Lean into a low lunge. Bring your hands to your knee. Maybe lean in a little bit more. If you like, maybe inhale the arms overhead, and that'll enhance the stretch in the left hip flexor. On your exhale, bring your hands to the mat. Tuck your back toe under, lift your back knee, shift back to downward dog. If you like, on your next inhale, float the left leg up. And take it up as high as it'll go. Bend the left knee, let your heel fall towards your right glute. Now start to straighten your left leg, square off the hips, rise up onto the ball of the right foot, sweep the left leg through, lower the right knee and the top of the right foot, lean into your low lunge. Bring your hands to inhale, arms overhead. Exhale, hands down. Shift your hips back a little, tuck the back toe under, lift the back knee, and step back to downward dog. On your next inhale, float the right leg up. Exhale, step or sweep it through, plant the foot between the hands, keep the back heel up. Bring your hands to your knee. Inhale, arms overhead. Stretch back through the left leg. Bring your hands to heart center. Lean forward. And then if you like, twist to the right. Hook your elbow to the outside of the right thigh. This is tricky. It's balance, it's twisting, it's a lot of things. And come out of that twist. Inhale your arms overhead. Exhale your hands to the mat and step back to downward dog. On your inhale, float the left leg up. Exhale, step or sweep it through, plant the foot between the hands. Keep the back heel up. Bring your hands to your knee. Inhale, arms overhead. It's really focusing on that right hip flexor. Bring your hands to heart center. Lean forward. Twist to the left. Slowly unwind. Inhale, arms overhead. Exhale, hands to the mat. Step the left foot back to downward dog. Now, step your feet out wide to the edges of the mat. And start to walk your hands back towards your feet. And then angle your feet so your heels in or toes out. Maybe balls of the feet even off the mat. Sink your hips down. Come into a deep squat. So if this is a little too much for your knees and your hips, feel free to go back to a standing forward fold or to downward dog. But this is a great position for reducing tension and pain in the low back. Bring your fingertips down to the mat. And then we'll start to straighten the legs. Toe heel the feet back to about hips distance apart and walk your hands back out to your downward dog. On your next inhale, float your right leg up. Exhale as you step or sweep it through. Plant the foot between the hands. Hang out here in your runner's lunge for just a breath or two. And then step your left foot in just a little bit. Bring your hands out in front of you. And then inhale, left leg up, coming into a supported warrior three. Go ahead and bring your left foot down beside your right foot. Come into a forward fold. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale and fold. Inhale, rise up, extended mountain. Shift your weight into your left foot. Start to hinge forward, bringing the right leg up. We're coming to warrior three. We're just going to be here for one breath. And then as you start to come out, bend your left knee, step back, come to warrior one. From your warrior one, we're going to open around into warrior two, but you're going to face the back of your mat. Good. On an inhale, reverse your warrior, stretch the right arm back. As you exhale, come to warrior two. Take a deep inhale and exhale to side angle. So you have some options here. You can rest your forearm on the top of the thigh. You can let the right arm just kind of hang out in space, or you can bring the fingertips of the right hand to the mat and then reach your left arm overhead. And wherever you are in your side angle, start to come into triangle from here. So you'll need to straighten that right leg, reach the fingertips of the left hand up towards the ceiling. On your inhale, rise up. Bring your hands to your hips. Pivot your feet so that they're parallel to each other, toes pointing towards the long edge of the mat. Inhale, lengthen your spine. And exhale as you fold forward. Just coming down to wherever you're comfortable. You can keep your hands on your hips or your thighs or your shins, or you can bring them down to the mat or to blocks. On your inhale, come to a halfway lift. We're going to soften the knees and then just kind of walk the hands around to the front of the mat. You'll need to pivot your feet while you're doing this so your toes point towards the front of your mat. Plant your palms and step back to plank. Vinyasa here, or you can go right to down dog. On your inhale, float your left leg up. As you exhale, step or sweep it through. Plant the foot between the hands. Pause here in a runner's lunge. Draw your shoulders down, so away from your ears, shoulder blades moving towards the hips. Step your right foot in just a little. Bring your hands out in front of you. On your inhale, float the right leg up. And take just a couple breaths here in your supported warrior 3. And then as you exhale, slowly bring that right foot down beside the left and exhale into your forward fold. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, fold. Inhale, rise up. I might be doing this totally wrong. I'm not sure. I think you need to shift your weight into your right foot, pick up your left. That sounds right. Coming into warrior 3 for just a breath or two. Bending the right knee, set the left foot down. Inhale, warrior 1. Is this the different side? Yes. Yay! Yay me. All right. Exhale, open to warrior 2. Face the back of your mat. Turn your left palm over. Inhale, reverse your warrior. Exhale, warrior 2. Take a deep inhale here. And exhale to whatever variation of side angle you took on the other side. From your side angle, start to shift into triangle. On your inhale, rise up. Bring your hands to your hips, pivot your left foot, point your toes toward the long edge of your mat. Inhale, lengthen your spine. And exhale as you slowly forward fold. So take a moment here, just release any tension from the neck and in the shoulders. On your next inhale, come to a halfway lift. Soften your knees, start to walk your hands around to the front of your mat, pivoting your feet. Plant the palms. Step the right foot back to plank. Take a vinyasa or go to down dog. On your inhale, float your right leg up. Exhale, step or sweep it through. Plant the foot between your hands. Inhale, rise up to crescent. Exhale, twist to the right. Bring your arms parallel with the floor. Inhale, back to center. Exhale, open to warrior two. Inhale, reverse your warrior. Exhale to side angle. Inhale to triangle. Exhale, come to a wide angle forward fold. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale as you walk your hands back around to the front of the mat. Step your left foot in. Hands out in front of you. Inhale, lift the left leg up. Supported warrior three, or if you're feeling it this morning, drop into a standing forward fold. Also known as standing split, left leg up in the air. If you're in the standing split, come back to supported warrior three. Bend your right knee, set the left foot down. We're coming back to runner's lunge. Plant your palms, step your right foot back to plank. Take a vinyasa or go to down dog. On your next inhale, float the left leg up. Exhale, step or sweep it through. Plant the foot between the hands. Inhale to crescent. Exhale, twist to the left. On your next exhale, sweep around, open to warrior two. Inhale, reverse your warrior. Exhale, warrior, extended side angle. Inhale to triangle. Exhale, let's see, we came right into our forward fold, didn't we? Or not? Yes. Thank you. Inhale, halfway lift. Walk the hands around to the front of the mat, pivot the feet. From runner's lunge, step the right foot in a little. Hands out in front of you. Inhale, float the right leg up. You can stay in supported warrior three, or you can drop into a standing split. If you're in the standing split, come back to supported warrior three. And then bending the left knee, set the right foot down, come back into your runner's lunge, plant the palms, step the left foot back to plank, take a vinyasa or go to down dog. It's so nice to be able to hear my students' breaths again. Such a good indication that you're getting out of it what you need to get out of it. On your inhale, float your right leg up. When we sweep it through this time, we're going to take it to the left side of the mat and set ourselves up for pigeon pose. So you might need to adjust that back foot a little bit. Open that right hip. Try to bring your knee and your hip down at the same time. So I like to stay up nice and tall for a few breaths. Kind of lets that right hip know what it's getting into. But it also focuses a little more on the left hip flexor. So once you feel like you're ready, you can come down onto your forearms. And I know some of you like to stretch the arms out and bring the forehead down to the mat, and that's fine, but I encourage you to stay here for a few breaths before you do that. And maybe just ask yourself, do I really need to do that this morning? Or can I get what I need right here? And if you decide that, yes, I really do need to go further, then go ahead and slide your hands out in front of you and slowly bring your forehead down to the mat. So while we're here, we want to make sure that we're not holding tension anywhere, especially unnecessary tension. So check in with the neck and the shoulders. And then soften all the way down through the torso. See if you can relax the hips a little more. And relax the muscles in the legs. So if your arms are stretched out in front of you, start to come back up onto your forearms. And then come up onto your palms. Tuck your back toe under, lift your back knee. Very slowly shift back into either tabletop or downward dog. If you're in tabletop, go ahead and tuck your toes under and come into downward dog. It usually feels pretty good after pigeon pose. It's a great IT man stretch. On your inhale, float your left leg up. And then as you exhale, we're going to sweep it forward, bring the left foot to the right side of your mat. Slowly open the left hip, lower down onto the mat. And once again, just stay up nice and tall for a couple of breaths. And then if you like, you can come down onto your forearms. And now if you stretched out on the other side, you'll want to do the same thing here. So maybe stretching the arms out in front of you, forehead down to the mat. So these long held yin poses are a way to access the connective tissue like the IT band. So the IT band is a ligament that runs from the outside of your hip to the outside of your knee. And it's really hard to stretch that unless you are able to relax your muscles in pigeon pose. The muscles want to protect our connective tissue. So if you find that you're holding tension in your muscles, they're just trying to do their job. And you might just talk to them and say, thanks, but no thanks. And while pigeon pose does an excellent job of targeting the IT band, it's also good for low back pain, as well as sciatica. Now, if your arms are stretched out in front of you, start to make your way back up onto your forearms. And then come up onto your palms. Tuck your back toe under, lift your back knee very slowly. Move back into either tabletop or downward dog. If you've gone to tabletop, go ahead and tuck your toes under and come into one last downward dog. And then very slowly bring your knees to the mat. Sweep your feet to the side and take a seat. Lie back onto your mat. And start to set yourself up in Shavasana. You should take just as much care setting up your Shavasana as you would any other pose. Maybe even a little more care so that you make sure you're in a position that allows your body to relax as much as possible. Some things to think about. Maybe separating the feet at least hips distance apart. Taking your arms out away from your body, turning your palms toward the ceiling. Maybe flattening your shoulder blades out onto the mat so that the muscles on the tops of the shoulders and around the shoulders can relax. And then just making any final adjustments. And then taking your attention to your breath. You might start to focus on your exhales. You can imagine each exhale as a wave of relaxation that washes over and through the body. And that wave of relaxation helps to soften all the big muscles, muscles in the legs, maybe the muscles around the shoulders. Then as your exhales become long enough, you might start to pause at the bottom of the exhale and start to let all the small muscles of the body soften. So maybe the muscles in the jaw, around the eyes, the muscles in the palms of your hands and the soles of your feet. Start to bring your attention to your inhales. And begin to even out the length of the inhales and the exhales. Once you feel a little energy starting to build in the body, you can slowly move your fingers and toes if you like, or maybe move your head slowly side to side. And then when you feel like you're ready, take a deep inhale. And as you exhale, roll to your right side. Start to make your way up into a seated position. And come up slowly and mindfully so that you don't disturb the relaxation that you've created in the body. Bring your hands to heart center. Take your gaze down to your fingertips and close your eyes. Take a moment to notice how you feel physically and mentally. And then take a moment to set an intention for your day. And rather than focusing on things you need to get done, focus more on how you'd like to feel. Take one more deep inhale and a long, slow exhale. Thank you for practicing with me this morning. Have a wonderful day and a great weekend. Namaste. He just popped right off there. Didn't even say goodbye.